Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is our waddle through all of my penguins, past, present, and yet to come. and this video takes off from a comment that I made just recently in a Daily Penguin video where I mentioned the autobiography of a singer named Morrissey. I got a lot of feedback from that. A lot of you under the rather charming illusion that celebrities write their own memoirs. Any of them do. And proposing all sorts of candidates, including Mozart, including Marcy. I thought that was rather charming. But one of the points that I made in that video, quite apart from the self-evident fact that celebrities do not write their own memoirs, was that however much I don't agree that Penguin Classics should have started bastardizing their own name by grabbing after the headline cycles. We've seen what damage that can do with literary institutions like the Nobel Prize for Literature. I don't agree that Penguin Classics should be doing that, and I mentioned at the time that my disagreement was enhanced by the fact that I think the book they chose to break that mold is junk. But that I would also disagree even if what they chose was something I really liked. And that is the example that I have for you today. I have 6 examples here today because Penguin Classic recently decided to reprint Marvel Comics in oversized books. The classic Marvel Comics, most of the classic Marvel Comics. So here we have Steve Ditko and Stan Lee doing the original Spider-Man in an oversized volume. Here they chose... for Twitter reasons, they chose also the Black Panther in this initial run, and with the character's origins with Lee and Kirby, and then moving on from there. Also, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon's creation, Captain America, got his own volume, and also updated with adventures from later when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were doing the character. The Fantastic Four, of course. They were the flagship of the new era of comic books, the Stan Lee era of comic books. They got their own volume. Novices to comic books. I don't imagine that many novices to comic books would buy these things. But novices to comic books would probably be confused because this is called the Fantastic Four, but there are 5 people on this cover. I would have chosen a different cover. The 5th person is the Silver Surfer, who is about to be bastardized on the big screen by being turned into a woman. Not that there's anything wrong with women, but the character was created as a man. So if the only justification you can give for swapping the sex of this character does not hold up. So anyway, it's just to annoy fans. It's just fan baiting. And I hope that the fans who go to the new Fantastic Four movie and see that, it's being carefully kept out of the previews. So a lot of fans don't know that. A lot of fans don't know that they're going to get the Galactus story with the Silver Surfer, and that when the Silver Surfer shows up, he's going to be a she. And I am hoping that when fans see that, they walk out of theaters, don't go back, tell their friends not to go. The only way that ideologically captured Hollywood is going to stop doing this crap is if they lose all their money. All of it. Not some of it. All of it. If everyone loses their job, then maybe you can build a film industry from the ground up that doesn't do this crap. You are not Rosa Parks. You are not a sociology experiment. You are not righting any wrong of history to change the sex of this character. Period. But anyway, this is classic Stan Lee and Jack Kirby storylines. And then we have the Avengers with a whole bunch of creators, including, very happy to see Don Heck, an artist named Don Heck, who I don't think gets the love that he deserves. And he's now in a Penguin Classic. And finally, the X-Men, which has lots, Don Heck, again, Werner Roth, Neil Adams, but none of the relaunch of the X-Men that made them incredibly famous, that made them the new flagship for Marvel Comics. That's not in here. So Marvel brought these out in batches of 3. They did first 3 that did not include the Fantastic Four, and then they did another 3 of super teams. And I cheered, I applauded, I was happy to see these things. Of course I was. The marriage of things that I love wonderfully, superhero comic books and Penguin Classics. Of course that felt right, but it is wrong. It felt right, but it is wrong. These things are not classics. These are pulp ephemera. They might be classics in the comics field, fine, but Penguin Classics is not in the comics field. And if you want this kind of buzz, of course, Penguin Classics didn't want this kind of buzz. They wanted the headline cycle, and that's all. But if you wanted the kind of buzz of, hey, doing something wild or unusual, and you wanted a heavily illustrated volume, you wanted to tip your hat to American comic books, well, there is a volume that you could have reprinted. Richard Lupoff wrote a book 50 years ago called All in Color for a Dime, which is not just Marvel Comics, it's all comics. It's a really good, I believe it's long out of print. It's excellent, though. It's a really good history and visual tour of the founding years of the American industry of the superhero, mystery, and adventure comic book. All in Color for a Time is a terrific book. I am sure that the estate of Richard Lupoff would have said yes if Penguin Classic had said, "Can we make this a Penguin Classic?" And it would have only been one volume, not six. But you would have still had people talking about, oh wow, this isn't your grandfather's Penguin Classics. The headlines that these people, I guess, are dying for. But that's your Daily Penguin for today. An example of something that I talked about with Morrissey's book, only something that I do like. Of course I like seeing Marvel Comics reprinted in Penguin Classic. Of course I do. And yet, both are wrong. Both of those examples are wrong. There's still plenty of classical stuff that you could be printing or reprinting. Plenty of it. But no. But anyway, that's just a brief Daily Penguin for today. Daily Penguin is the Penguin Classic Marvel Comics. So we'll move on next time. Thank you, BookTube.